All right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rucha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is just simply for the newer members, dated today's date, October 4th, 2023, the year of all the hopeful prophecies of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai coming to pass. And pretty much I just wanted to get into just some basic um, names, in the scriptures, in the Hebrew, so that those brothers out there and few sisters, that are newer members can get familiar with some of those names. Now, we stress here knowing your words and the definitions of words, being able to look them up in the Hebrew and the Greek. You don't have to know how to speak fluent Hebrew or fluent Greek, because that's not a requirement that for you to learn that to be saved. But you do have to have somewhat of a working knowledge of the Hebrew language and the Greek language, so you can be able to look up certain words so you can get a better understanding of what the scriptures are speaking about. So I want to start off in Genesis 4 and 1. We're just going to go through a series of names, and see where the Spirit leads it. I didn't really have anything prepared, just a few ideas and names that were rolling around in my head. So we'll start off with Genesis 4 and 1. This is Genesis 4 and 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the first thing we're going to start off with is the name Adam. All right. Now the name Adam goes back to the Hebrew word Adama. All right. Adama. Now they say here man, mankind. It really doesn't mean man, because the word for man is Ayash. What Adam means, or Adama, which goes back to the word Adama. Let's see, they have another word here in the root word. Yeah, it says to be red. It doesn't mean to be red. Because Adam was named Adam after from the ground. All right. Because when we go back to the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 7, it says, and the Lord Yahweh of power formed man of the dust of the ground. Now when you look up that word ground right there, for the Hebrew word for the word ground, right, is Adama, which is synonymous with Adam's name. And why was Adam called Adama, or ground? Because he was brown, just like the ground. He was created from the deep, dark brown soil, of the earth. All right. So it does not mean red. But what they do here in the Blue Letter Bible is they take the Hebrew words and the Greek words and put numbers to them and try to link them all and connect them all. Some of those words do not connect, because the way that you say red in the Hebrew is Adawam, which is totally different than Adama. It sounds similar, it's spelled somewhat similar, but they're two different words. The word for ground or brown, the earth or the ground is Adama. Another way you could say it is Arataza. All right, so Adama is the ground. Adawam, which is where you get the name Edom from, or Idumea, means red. All right. So the Lord created Adam from the dust of the ground. All right. And that's how Adam was created. And Adam himself, Eve, Cain, Abel, the serpent, all of the people on the planet Earth at one time were all brown-skinned people. The very first time that a so-called white man came onto the earth, which he began as a brown man, was Cain. All right, when you go into the curse of Cain, that curse of Cain was when the Lord stripped him of his pigment. This is why he said that his burden or his sin was too much for him to bear. So we go back to Genesis 4 and 1, and we go to the word Eve, and the name Eve goes back to the Hebrew word Chawa. Chawa. And what you can do is make sure you have your notebooks, your pencils, and or your pens, and write all this stuff down, so that way you can go back and you can go to these same precepts, and you can go to the Blue Letter Bible and you can click on each one of those names so you can get a better understanding on how to navigate through the Blue Letter Bible and know when it goes on, off, or when it goes, when it's on and when it's off. And that way that'll help to build up your research skills, especially for you young brothers out there, that eventually will become teachers. All right, so Hawa it really literally means farm. It has here life or living, which you can use that because you have the word chayah, like you have these Amalekites. They walk around with necklaces and stuff that says L'chaim. L'chaim means to life or of life, all right, or for life. All right, so Chawa, which is synonymous with Chaya, is living or life, but it goes also into the word farm, because Eve is the ground or the fertile ground where Adam, the man, plants his seed, which is the sperm, into that fertile ground, and then that seed takes root into that fertile ground and grows. All right, so Eve is called Eve because she is the mother of all living, because after the flood, because there were many people before the flood. That's another lie that they teach you out there, that there was just Adam and Eve, so if that's the case, where did Cain get his wife from? And so on and so forth, or wives, should I say, from, so because after the flood, the only people that were alive were the descendants of Adam, Adam and Eve, all right, which came through a man by the name of Noah, which Noah is the word Noach, which means comfort, because the Lord did comfort, him and his family by saving him from that flood, by tapping into his spirit, giving them the prophecies of the destruction that was coming, and putting the spirit on them to actually build the ark, so that they can have a place of refuge. Then he had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Noah. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem is where you get the Hebrew word Sham, which means name. Japheth is where you get the name Yapath, which means to enlarge. We used to teach it meant beautiful, but it doesn't mean beautiful. The word for beautiful is Yapah, but it's Yapath is enlarged. Yapah is beautiful. Then you have Ham, which goes into the Hebrew word Chum, which means hot. Okay, and that's how the earth was repopulated again. And those 4 men, beginning with Noah and his 3 sons and their wives, were all brown-skinned people. All right, from the beginning. All right, so the next name that we're going to tackle is the name Cain. Now, when you go to the Blue Letter Bible, on the name Cain, they don't really break it down, thoroughly. You have the word Cain, which goes to the Hebrew word Kwayan, and they said it means possession. It does not mean possession. It means like a weapon. Because even further down where it says Kenite equals smiths, all right, it means weapon, all right. Cain means weapon. Now, Cain, down the line, had one of his descendants named Tubal Cain. Now, Tubal Cain meant traveling weapon. Like you have a traveling weapon today would be a mercenary, all right. They're guns for hire, all right. They'll get hired to go to specific places on the planet Earth on a reconnaissance mission, and they'll get paid to either assassinate somebody or to extract somebody from a particular country, so on and so forth. And that's Esau's whole spirit, that traveling mercenary spirit. So the name Cain itself means weapon. And why was he named Cain or Kwayan or weapon? Because he actually killed his brother Abel, all right? Which leads us into the next name, which is Abel. So we go to Genesis 4:2. It says, and she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now, when we go to the name Abel itself, the name Abel is Habal. And like I said, jot these down, write them down, take notes. Then you can go back after the lesson, and you can research these yourself and look up each one of these words so you can see how it's spelled and how it's pronounced. Now, for those of you that are newer, when we go to the Greek in the New Testament, when you go to the actual word, there is a pronunciation for each word. Now, in the Greek, the pronunciations are correct, but in the Hebrew, the pronunciations are not. This is why you have to familiarize yourself with the Hebrew alphabet, so that way you can know how to pronounce these letters when you're reading them. All right, there is a page on YouTube called I believe it's called GMS Lashawan Kodash, and in GMS Lashawan Kodash there are a series of videos on there that'll help you, how to identify the alphabet, how to pronounce it, how to go to different, words, like different words, and meanings, and it's a pretty much a good basic fundamental building of the knowledge of the Hebrew. So you can go there, you can learn the alphabet and learn certain words and learn different, how to maneuver around it, how to maneuver around the words, because when you go to it, instead of just looking at it and not knowing what it is, just going to the word and just going to the definition, you can actually read each letter or pronounce each word, and you'll feel a lot better, a lot more accomplished. So the word habal here says it means breath, which that's sort of kind of what it means, but it's not really, because what the name Abel means, or habal, it means transitory, right? Because why was his name called transitory? Because he was here for a minute and then gone, because his brother killed him. So he had a fitting name. His brother had a fitting name or prophetic name, and he had a prophetic name, because he was only here for a while and then gone. Right, this is James, the book of James, chapter 4, verse 13. Go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow, we will go into such a city, and continue there a year, and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. And that's what happened with Abel. That's why his name means transitory, because he was here for a second and then gone. You have the buses, public, buses that run, and they are known as transit. And what do they do? Each transit, right? Each time a bus comes, they'll stop at a particular stop. They'll drop off passengers, pick up passengers, and then take off. So they're there for a little bit, and then they'll move on. That's transit, transitory. So that's what the name Abel means. I just looked up the word vapor. It's almis in the Greek, and it just says vapor. When you see like vapor coming up, like steam from water or incense, and you see the vapor coming up or the smoke coming up, and eventually that smoke disappears, that's a comparison for life. And that is the very definition of the name Abel, and it's fitting. Everything was fitting. All right, now let's go from there and let's go to Genesis. Genesis chapter 14 and verse 13. Because we're going to deal right now with the first father of the promise. Now, when you hear about the fathers of the promise, those are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, why are they known as the fathers of the promise? Because the Most High promised Abraham that in his seed, he would give them that the whole earth would be blessed because you will have Israelites scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And that blessing that he gave Abraham, which was to receive the land of Canaan, was only given to the nation of Israel. That blessing or that promise did not go to all nations. So that's why they're known as the children of the promise. And as you read through the book of Genesis, the Lord made the promise to Abraham. Abraham wanted to pass on his inheritance to his firstborn son, which was Ishmael, which we're going to get to that. But the Most High said no, because Abraham was an old man at the time, and he wanted to pass on his inheritance to his firstborn son. Before that, he wanted to pass it to his servant, which was named Eliezer. But the Lord said no. So he said eventually you're going to have a son, and you're going to call his name Isaac. All right? And that son, that's where you're going to have the seed of the promise. Right? And then from there, Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau, and the promise went from Isaac to Jacob. So those are the fathers of the promise: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So when we go to Genesis 14 and 13, it says, and there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Esau, the brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. So the name Abram is the name of Abraham before it was changed to Abraham. And the name Abram, which is Abba Ram, the name or the word Abba means father. And the word Ram means exalted. Right there, Abram, exalted father. And they got that correct. Why? Because he was exalted, above all people, because he was the first father of the promise, right? And then his name later on was changed from Abram, father exalted, to Abraham, right? So let's go to Abraham. Let's find one that says Abraham. And like I said, I'm moving a little fast, but that's all right. All you have to do is write the stuff down, and go back and check it. All right, so this is Genesis 17 and 5. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. Yeah, because you would have Israelites all over the place. And each tribe of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel is compared to a nation. And that's in the scriptures also. So the name Abraham, not Abraham, but Abraham, inside joke. Abraham, once again, Abba is father, and Raham is of a multitude. All right, and they got it right again. Abraham, father of a multitude. So they got that correct. So it's a compound word name. All right, Abba Raham, which is father of a multitude. Then the next father of the promise, which was Isaac, right? Let's go to Genesis 17 and 19. It says, and the Most High said, Sarah, thy wife, shall bear thee a son. Indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Now, the name Isaac comes from the Hebrew word. We'll go down, Yetazakach, right? Which means, let's see if they got it right. It means he laughs or laughter. So they got that right. So laugh or laughter. All right? So that's what the name Isaac means. Now his mother's name was Sarah, but prior to Sarah's name being Sarah, her name was Sarai. All right? Let's look up the name Sarai. Now Sarai, just bear with me 1 second. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it up this way. All right. All right, beautiful. Right, Genesis 17 and 15. And the Most High said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. Now the name Sarai is the feminine way of saying prince. So this would be the way of saying princess, right? Or Sharayah, which is with the ya at the end, if it's not connected to the word, makes it, makes it feminine, right? In this case, makes it possessive. The ya makes it possessive, which means my, or basically Sharayah, my princess, okay? Because she was the woman that was given to Abraham, all right? So Sharayah, my princess. So the Lord said, you're not going to call her name my princess anymore, but you will call her name Sarah. Now the name Sarah is the feminine way of how you say prince. All right, so let's go to it. Sarah, Sharah. The way you say prince is Shar. The way you say princess is Sharah. You will add a ha at the end. So Shar, prince, Sharah, princess. Okay? Now, you had Isaac, and he had two sons. One of them was named Jacob. The other one was named Esau. So when we go to the name Jacob, all right, Genesis 25 and 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So when we go to the name Jacob, right? The name Jacob goes into the Hebrew word Ya'iqwab, which means supplanter. Heel holder or supplanter. All right, supplanter. And let me see something. Right, because the ya at the beginning is he, and then the iquab is supplant. He supplants. So ya iquab means he supplants or supplanter. Then his brother's name was called Esau. Now, when you go to the Blue Letter Bible, right, they don't break down the name Esau. They'll tell you it's Aisha or Aisha, right, which is really Aishashwa, because the name Aishash means wasted. The wa at the end, if it's not connected to the name, makes it possessive, he. Wasted away is he. What was wasted on him? His skin color, because he came out not looking like a normal baby. He came out looking different, because that was the origins after Cain. Because remember, all peoples were destroyed except for Noah and his 3 sons and their wives. So when the earth was repopulated again, that same seed came through the line of Esau. All right. So they say that the name Esau means hairy, but the name Esau does not mean hairy. All right. That's a lie. Because the name Seir or Mount Seir, that is where you get the term or the name Harry from. Harry! Inside joke. Let's go to it. This is the book of Genesis 14 and 6. And the Horites in their Mount Seir unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. Now the word Seir Seir, right, is the Hebrew word sha'ir. In this case, it says sha'ayar, but sha'ir, which means hairy or shaggy. That's the proper terminology for for hair or hairy. It's seer, not Esau. You know, that's not the case. That's not true. All right. Um, Let me see. There was something else that came to mind. What else was it? So, like I said, we're just going through some basic names in the scriptures for the beginners, the newcomers. You know, those of you out there that are not really familiar with this, so you can get like a working knowledge of of the um, of the Hebrew. Now, Jacob himself, who was the last father of the promise, he actually had 12 sons. And out of those 12 sons came the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Now, we don't know exactly what happened to the tribe of Dan. That's been a controversy. We'll find out definitely in the kingdom what happened, what exactly happened to Dan, where they mingled among the tribes, where they left somewhere else. We don't know, but we'll find out in the kingdom of heaven. But the vibration is 12 when we read the book of the book of Revelation, chapter 7, where it speaks about the 12 tribes, the 144,000, 12,000 out of each tribe, right? And the tribe of Joseph, right? The tribe of Joseph, just bear with me 1 second. The tribe of Joseph, right? They're interchangeable with the tribe of Ephraim. When you go back to Numbers, the first chapter, 32nd verse, that Joseph is named in Ephraim, all right? And that's why the name Joseph and Ephraim are interchangeable. Sometimes you're going to see Ephraim, sometimes you're going to see Joseph. Manasseh was a separate tribe, all right? So we'll go through, and the first tribe we're going to deal with is Judah. Now the name Judah, right, goes back to the Hebrew word Yahwadah, which is a compound word. Yahweh, which is the Most High's name, and the Dah is the shortened way of saying Thawada. Yahweh Thawada, or Yahwadah. Yahweh thanks, or Yahweh be praised. That's what the name of Judah, the tribe of Judah, the so-called Negroes, is. The next one we're going to deal with is Reuben, right? Reuben is Ra'ah-bun. Ra'ah-bun. Ra'ah means to see, and bun is son. Ra'ah-bun. See, it's a son. All right? And like I said, you can go back into Genesis and go through each one of these tribes, once you get the breakdown of it, and you can see how it's written out and write it out in the Hebrew, and that way you can have it so you can study it. The next tribe we're going to deal with is a tribe of Gad, or God. All right? And the name God, or the tribe God, means troop. Troop. All right? The next one is the tribe of Asher, or Asher, or, so the tribe of Asher would be Ashar, which means happy. So we dealt with Judah, the so-called Negroes, Reuben, the so-called Seminole Indians, Gad, the so-called North American Indians, Asher, from you have Brazil, Colombia, you have Uruguay, Paraguay, Peru, Ecuador. Those I guess states, for lack of a better word, in South America. Those are the tribe of Asher. The next one we're going to deal with is Naphtali, or Naphtali. Naphtali, from the Hebrew word Naphthalia. Naphthalia is my wrestling. All right, my wrestling. All right, and those would be Argentina and Chile, the indigenous people of Argentina and Chile. All right, that's who that would be. The next one is Manasseh or Manasseh. Manasseh, made to forget, the so-called Cubans. All right. The next tribe is Simeon. Simeon. And Simeon goes back to the Hebrew word Shammai one. Shammai one. Shammai is heard. One is affliction. Shammai one, affliction heard. All right. And that would be the so-called Dominicans. The next tribe is a tribe of Levi. Levi, from the Hebrew word loyah, loyah, which means joined to me. Yah is me or my, and law is joined. So loyah means joined to me. And who was that? That were the Levitical priests that today would be known as the so-called Haitians. And they were joined to the Lord by the law. Okay? And the last tribe, I'm sorry, there's more. The next tribe is Issachar. Issachar, right? Issachar comes from the Hebrew word Yashashkar. Yashashkar. Yah is he, Shashkar is hired. He is hired. And that would be the so-called Mexican. And that name fits the so-called Mexicans because they are for hire. You know, they come to this country and they take on the least menial jobs that nobody else wants. You know, and they're always constantly working. So Yashashkar is he is hired, the so-called Mexicans. The next one is Zebulon or Zabalawan, which is my dwelling. Zabalawan is dwelling, all right? Dwelling, Zabalawan, which that would be the so-called indigenous people of Central America. You know, you got Costa Rica, you got Guatemala, you got Panama, so on and so forth, all right? The next tribe we're going to deal with is the tribe of Joseph, which also is the tribe of Ephraim. Now, Joseph comes from the Hebrew word Yahwasap. Yahwasap means Yah is he, Wasap is to add. Yahwasap, he will add. That's Joseph, which in this case, this particular tribe will represent Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans. You know, when you go back to Ezekiel 37, it uses Joseph, you know, and that's Ephraim. You go back to Numbers 132, it says that Ephraim is named in Joseph or something along those lines. All right, you can go back and you can fact check that. So that would be the so-called Puerto Ricans. And the last tribe here is Benjamin, right? Benjamin, which is Banyamyan. Ban is son, Yamyan is right. Banyamyan, son of the right. And that would be the so-called West Indians. Now, the tribe of Ephraim, which is synonymous with Joseph, goes into the Hebrew word aparyam. Aparyam. A is where you get the word anya or I, and then par is fruit, and yum is plural. Aparyam, I am fruitful. I am fruitful. That would be your so-called Puerto Ricans. You know, so those are all the 12 tribes, and those are some of the names, you know, that, you know, we're going to go into in this lesson. You know, it's just, you know, for the beginners out there that are just learning. Like I said, you go to GMS Lashawan Kodash, learn the Hebrew alphabet, you know, get acquainted with that, you know, get acquainted with how to pronounce the words. And there's a lot of good information on there pertaining to the Hebrew language for those of you that are serious-minded, that want to learn, you know, especially you young men out there, you know, that are coming into this thing, that are studying to become teachers. Because I'll leave you with this one precept in the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, and I'll just start at 1. It says, "Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Yahushua HaMashiach, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also." Because that's our job. Our job is not here. You're not coming here to be a follower. You're coming here to learn so that you can become a teacher. All right? This is not a thing of just following. You know, you're just a follower all your life. No. You come into this thing, you learn, and eventually you will become a teacher, and then you will have men that will learn under you until they come of age, and then they can go out there and teach and bring more fruit in. Remember, Yahweh Shai said, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye the Father, I'm just merely paraphrasing, that he sent more laborers into his vineyard because there's plenty of work to do, but there's not enough workers. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.